Chosen one. Now everybody finally sees who you really are, and your secret being out has them terrified. The mask you wore for survival has cracked beyond repair. What's left standing is the unfiltered soul that was never meant to stay hidden forever. You didn't malfunction, you awakened. That moment you snapped, went quiet, spoke up, set a boundary or refused to shrink, was not a mistake. Now the truth is out, and guess what? The world didn't end. From here on, you're not protecting their comfort, you're protecting your soul. You've been walking around in disguise for so long, playing a character designed to keep everyone comfortable. The quiet one who never makes waves, the agreeable one who goes along to get along, the harmless one who poses no threat to anyone's ego or status or sense of superiority. You let people believe you were soft when you're actually made of something unbreakable. You let others think your silence meant emptiness when really you were just choosing not to waste words on those who wouldn't understand them anyway. People mistook your patience for weakness, saw your kindness and called it naivety. Witnessed your calm and assumed it meant you were empty inside. Everyone built entire narratives around a version of you that never challenged anyone, never threatened anyone, never made anyone question where the real power actually lived. And you let this happen. Not because you were afraid, but because revealing the truth meant dealing with consequences you weren't ready to handle. Jealousy, fear, the desperate need some people have to tear down what confuses or threatens them. So you played small. You operated at maybe a third of your actual capacity, just to maintain some semblance of peace, just to move through your days without constant confrontation, just to avoid the chaos that erupts when people realize how badly misread someone sitting right in front of them. Every time you stayed quiet when you could have demolished someone's argument with a single sentence, every time you walked away when you could have escalated into something unforgettable, every time you let something slide when you could have made it into a defining moment, those weren't moments of weakness, those were moments of mercy. You were protecting people from the full weight of your presence. You were giving everyone the gift of not knowing what you're actually capable of, and most mistook that gift for proof that you were harmless. Here's what people missed while congratulating themselves on having you figured out. You were watching, the whole time. While others thought observation was happening in one direction, you were studying everyone with precision no one could match. You saw patterns, weaknesses, insecurities laid bare in every interaction. You noticed how desperately some needed to feel superior, how people clung to false narratives to protect their fragile sense of self, how everyone performed their own versions of confidence that were hollow at the core. You catalogued all of it. You understood exactly who you were dealing with in every situation. You saw through every manipulation, every game, every transparent attempt to keep you in a box that made others comfortable, and you said nothing. You just absorbed the information, filed it away, waited, because that's what intelligent people do, that's what chosen ones do. You watch the game being played while everyone else is too busy playing to notice observation happening from the sidelines. You evolved in silence. You grew in spaces people didn't think to look. You built capacity where no one could see it forming. While everyone else was talking, competing, performing for invisible audiences, you were becoming something no one could begin to comprehend. You were transforming while staying perfectly still on the surface, gathering strength while appearing completely passive, building power while maintaining the appearance of someone who had none. So what triggered it? What was the specific moment that broke through your restraint? Maybe someone crossed a line so obvious you couldn't let it pass without responding. Maybe a situation arose where staying quiet would have meant betraying yourself at a level you couldn't tolerate. Maybe the pressure you'd been managing for too long finally found its breaking point. The specific trigger matters less than what happened when you finally stopped performing. You let people see it, that flash of intensity that's been living underneath your calm exterior, that glimpse of power that's been waiting patiently behind your pleasant demeanor, that moment where your energy shifted and suddenly you weren't the person anyone thought was sitting in that room. You were something else entirely, something that doesn't ask for permission, something that doesn't shrink to accommodate anyone's comfort, something that's been holding back, not out of fear but out of choice. When people witnessed that shift, when the full force of your authentic presence hit even for just a moment, It shook everyone within range, because it was nothing like what anyone expected, nothing like the character built in collective imagination, nothing like the safe, predictable, manageable version everyone had convinced themselves was real. People saw something in your eyes that made recalculation necessary, heard something in your voice that made questioning every assumption unavoidable, felt something in your energy that made understanding dawn. A game was being played that no one else even knew existed, and you were running it the entire time. People are going back through every memory involving you, replaying interactions like someone reviewing footage after discovering crucial evidence was missed. And with each replay, truth settles in deeper. That time you stayed silent during an argument, was that because you had nothing to say, or because you chose not to obliterate someone? That time you walked away from conflict, was that fear or wisdom? That time you let someone think victory was theirs, was that weakness or strategy? Every single memory is being re-examined through this new lens. Every assumption is being questioned, and the more people look back, the more obvious blindness becomes. How arrogant everyone was, how completely every signal got misread. The foundation everyone built their understanding of you on was made of sand. The confidence people had in reading you was misplaced. The story everyone told themselves about who you are has been revealed as fiction. If this message speaks to your soul, hype this video so other chosen ones can discover it. The math problem minds are trying to solve. If that glimpse was enough to shake everyone this badly, what happens when you stop holding back entirely? If you were capable of hiding this much depth, this much intensity, this much power behind a simple smile, what else are you capable of? What else have you been concealing? What else are people about to discover that will shatter even more assumptions? The realization hitting everyone is this: you've been operating with self-imposed limitations, playing at reduced capacity just to maintain social harmony. And even at that reduced level, you are still more present, more real, more authentic than most people at their maximum effort. So what happens when you decide those limitations aren't necessary anymore? What happens when making others comfortable stops being your concern? What happens when you step into the full expression of who you actually are, without apology or restraint? That's the question creating sleepless nights. People caught a preview and realized the main feature is something else entirely. Witnesses saw a trailer and understood the full movie is beyond what anyone feels prepared to handle. The fraction of your capacity that broke through was already too much for comfortable processing. Now minds are racing through scenarios, running calculations, trying to figure out what this means, and every scenario ends with the same conclusion: you were underestimated, badly. Notice how people physically move around you differently now. There's this new distance some are trying to maintain, not obvious enough to call out directly, but noticeable enough that you can feel the shift. People are recalculating safe distances, trying to figure out how close is too close now that everyone knows what you're actually capable of holding. People who used to invade your space constantly, who felt comfortable getting in your face, who had no concept of boundaries with you, suddenly respect limits nobody had to explain. Voices that used to rise around you now stay measured. Words that used to fly carelessly now get chosen with precision. That casual disrespect some people threw your way has evaporated, because understanding finally landed. You weren't tolerating poor treatment because you couldn't stop it. You were allowing it. And there's a universe of difference between those two states. Watch what happens in group settings. You walk into a room and the entire atmosphere shifts, not because conversation stops, but because energy changes in ways people can't quite name. Your presence carries weight. It didn't carry before, not because you changed, but because perception shattered and rebuilt itself into something closer to reality. People track your reactions now, monitor your responses, try to gauge what you're thinking behind whatever expression you're choosing to wear. The ones who used to speak over you are now waiting for you to finish. The ones who used to dismiss your input are now listening carefully to what you say. The ones who used to challenge everything you contributed are now nodding along, not wanting to be the one who provokes whatever got revealed that day. You didn't ask for this shift. You didn't demand it. It just happened naturally, because everyone finally understands that underestimating you was the mistake. and nobody is eager to make it again. Some people are taking a different approach, attempting to get closer now instead of pulling back. Not because genuine connection suddenly appeals to them, but because old principles about keeping potential threats nearby where you can watch them still seem to apply. People want access to you now that real power has been revealed. Suddenly your opinions matter. Your plans interest everyone. Your perspective on things becomes valuable, and it's transparent why this sudden interest appeared right after the mask fell. You can watch people trying to reposition themselves in real time. The ones who stood against you are attempting neutrality. The ones who were neutral are reaching for friendship. The ones who were casually friendly are pushing for inner circle status. Everyone wants to upgrade their relationship classification with you, not because feelings changed, but because the risk-reward calculation shifted dramatically. Being on the wrong side of you now carries consequences nobody wants to face. Think about how history is being rewritten right now. You can hear it when your name gets mentioned in other conversations. People are suddenly remembering moments differently. That time you stayed quiet. Now the story is you were being strategic. That time you walked away. Now it gets described as a power move. That situation where someone thought victory was theirs. Now suspicion grows that you let it happen on purpose. Entire narratives about you are crumbling, and everyone is frantically trying to build new ones that make sense with what just got discovered. The realization is landing that while you seem to be revealing yourself, everyone else was actually the one giving information away. While others thought you were being open and vulnerable, while everyone assumed you were showing everything, the truth is reversed. You were collecting data while others were performing. You were observing patterns while everyone was busy trying to impress you. You know things about people that were never intended for your awareness. You saw weaknesses everyone thought were hidden. You noticed contradictions everyone thought went undetected. And now people are lying awake wondering what you're going to do with all that information. Because that's the thing about secrets. Everyone thought your secret got exposed. Turns out your secret was just that you were stronger than anyone could comprehend. But everyone else's secrets? Those are actual vulnerabilities, actual inconsistencies, actual things nobody wants exposed. And you've been watching this whole time, taking notes, understanding exactly who everyone is beneath their own performances. The power dynamic has completely flipped, and people are struggling to adjust. The ones who felt comfortable giving you orders are now phrasing things as requests. The ones who used to make demands are now asking for favors. The ones who spoke to you like you were beneath them are now matching your energy with something that looks almost like respect. Almost. Because real respect would require admitting complete wrongness from the beginning. And that's a pill most aren't ready to swallow yet. You're not losing anything. You're reclaiming everything. All the energy you poured into maintaining that false image, yours again. All the mental space you dedicated to managing perceptions, recovered. All the emotional bandwidth you spent on keeping others comfortable at your own expense, returned to you with interest. Maintaining that performance was costing you more than you realized while you were paying the price. It drained resources you didn't know you were spending. It limited capacity you didn't recognize you were suppressing. It prevented you from showing up fully in any area of your life, because you were constantly splitting energy between being yourself and managing how others saw you. Now all that energy is available for actually living instead of performing. You're going to be sharper now, more focused, more present, because you're not dividing attention between reality and pretense anymore. You're not calculating responses based on what people expect. You're just responding from your truth. And that clarity, that presence, that authenticity creates momentum nothing else can match. You're about to accomplish things that were impossible when you were hiding, build things that required your full capacity, create things that demanded your authentic power. The universe rewards authenticity in ways it can't reward performance. Doors that were closed when you were hiding are opening now that you're visible. Paths that were blocked when you were small are clearing now that you're standing tall. Opportunities that couldn't exist in your performed reality are emerging in your authentic one. Not because opportunities changed, but because you changed. Because the energy you're broadcasting is different. because the version of you showing up is finally aligned with who you actually are. You're going to notice synchronicities multiplying, moments where exactly the right person appears at exactly the right time, situations where exactly what you need shows up exactly when you need it. This isn't magic or luck. This is alignment. When you're authentic, when you're operating from truth, when you're not wasting energy on maintaining false images, life can actually deliver what's meant for you, because you're finally in position to receive it. You're finally broadcasting the signal that matches what you're supposed to attract. Strangers are going to sense something about you moving forward, something beyond words but that draws people anyway. Authentic power has magnetism that performed power never achieves. Real confidence attracts. Genuine presence commands attention without trying. And now that you're operating from that place, you're going to watch how situations rearrange themselves around you, how opportunities appear, how the right people show up at the right time, how doors open that were locked before. Not everyone is going to leave. Not everyone is responding with fear. Some people have been waiting for this moment, hoping you'd finally drop the mask, sensing the real you underneath the performance, and wondering when you'd let it show. And now that you have, now that you're operating authentically, these people are stepping forward. These are the ones who matter. The ones who saw you clearly even when you were hiding. The ones who treated you with respect before power was revealed, because they sensed what was underneath. You'll recognize them by how they respond to your authenticity. No attempts to shame you back into hiding. No suggestions that you did something wrong. No efforts to manage or control or minimize what got revealed. Instead, appreciation, recognition, space for you to exist fully. These people aren't threatened by your power, because comfort with their own exists. Nobody needs you to be small, so feeling big becomes possible. No competing or comparing, or trying to use you to validate worth. These connections, the ones built on truth instead of performance, are worth everything you lost to get here, because authenticity makes them real, solid, sustainable. Maintaining them doesn't require betraying yourself. Participating doesn't demand that you shrink. Being anything other than what you are isn't necessary. And that, chosen one, is the kind of relationship your soul has been craving. The kind that feeds you instead of draining you. The kind that celebrates your truth instead of asking you to hide it. Like calls to like, truth recognizes truth. Authenticity attracts authenticity. The people brave enough to live without masks can spot others doing the same. And now that you've removed yours, now that you're broadcasting on your authentic frequency, your real tribe is finding you. The connections forming from this point forward will be different, deeper, more meaningful, built on solid ground instead of shifting sand, built on recognition instead of performance, built on genuine seeing instead of comfortable illusions. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something. But talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today, join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks, and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. This moment marks a threshold, a before and after. Everything that happens from here forward is happening in new territory. You're operating at a different frequency now, moving through the world differently, and the world is responding to you differently. This isn't just about relationships. This is about your entire reality shifting. Your whole life rearranging itself around this new truth of who you actually are. You're going to feel more alive, because you're finally actually living instead of watching your life from behind a mask. You're participating fully, showing up completely, existing without restraint, and there's a vitality that comes with that, an aliveness, a sense of being here now instead of being somewhere else while your body goes through motions. This is what you were fighting for without even knowing it. This is what your soul was craving beneath all the performance and pretense. The people who are terrified right now are going to watch all of this unfold, witness you thriving in ways you couldn't thrive before, see you succeeding in ways that were blocked when you were small, observe you connecting with people and opportunities at a level nobody else can access. Some will realize their mistake, understand access to the real you existed, and got rejected out of fear, regret how response happened when your mask fell. But you won't be thinking about any of that anymore. You'll be too busy actually living, too occupied with building the life that fits who you are, too engaged with people who appreciate your authenticity, too focused on opportunities that match your real frequency. Terror around you will fade into background noise. Confusion will become irrelevant. Attempts to make sense of what happened will stop mattering, because distance will be so vast that energy for looking back won't exist. Stand in this space, own this moment completely. Let people be as terrified as necessary, while you step fully into who you've always been underneath the mask. Because coming this far doesn't lead to going back. Breaking through doesn't lead to retreat. Revealing your truth doesn't lead to hiding it again. You're here now, visible, authentic, powerful, operating without apology or explanation or concern for anyone's comfort but your own. From this moment forward, you get to decide how you show up, not based on what makes others comfortable, not based on what maintains false peace, not based on what keeps you small and safe and acceptable to people who never deserved access to the real you anyway, but based on what honors your authentic self, what aligns with your truth, what serves your highest good and your deepest purpose. This is your liberation, your freedom song. The moment you stop living someone else's version of your life and start living your own. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's uncertain. Yes, it requires courage you didn't know you possessed until you needed it. But you do possess it. Proof just arrived. By letting that mask fall and not scrambling to pick it back up. By letting people see the real you and not apologizing for what got revealed. By choosing truth over comfort, even when truth cost you something. You're going to be fine, better than fine. You're going to thrive in ways that were impossible when you were hiding your true nature. You're going to create things that required your authentic power to exist. You're going to connect with people who resonate with your real frequency. You're going to live a life that actually fits who you are, instead of trying to squeeze yourself into a life designed for someone you were never meant to be. People are going to talk, and when conversation happens, your truth is going to challenge comfortable lies other people have been living. Someone who saw the real you is going to go home and look at their own reflection differently. Someone who witnessed your power is going to start questioning why surrendering theirs felt necessary. Someone who watched you stop shrinking is going to wonder why staying small ever seemed like a good idea. You just gave permission to everyone watching to consider the possibility of living differently. This is what chosen ones do. You don't just transform yourself, you create transformation around you simply by refusing to participate in collective pretense anymore. Your authenticity gives others permission to consider their own. Your power reminds others of the power sleeping inside them. Your courage activates courage in people who forgot what bravery looks like. You're not just living your truth now, you're becoming a catalyst for truth in everyone who crosses your path. And that terrifies certain people even more than your personal power does. Because if you can inspire others to drop their masks, if your example spreads, if your choice to live authentically becomes contagious, then the entire system of comfortable lies starts to collapse. The social contracts built on everyone agreeing to pretend together start to dissolve. The hierarchies maintained through collective performance start to crumble. You're not just a person who stopped hiding anymore. You're a threat to every structure built on people staying hidden. Notice something else happening. Your actual energy field has shifted, not metaphorically, literally. The frequency you're broadcasting is different now. You're vibrating at a level that wasn't accessible when you were splitting your energy between truth and performance, and people can feel it even when you're not speaking. even when you're just standing in a room, even when you're simply existing in a space. This is why some people physically can't be around you anymore. It's not that you're doing anything to push them away. It's that your frequency is now incompatible with theirs, like trying to play a song in two different keys simultaneously. The dissonance becomes unbearable. So people who operate on frequencies of pretense, manipulation, and false presentation find being near you increasingly uncomfortable, not because you're attacking them, but because your presence alone highlights the gap between what you are and what others are performing. You're going to notice your presence changes rooms now. Conversations shift when you arrive, not always obviously, but energy adjusts. People recalibrate. The atmosphere alters, because authentic power has weight. It takes up space. It influences everything near it. You're not trying to dominate. You're just no longer trying to disappear. And the result is the same. Your existence demands acknowledgement in ways it didn't before. This is why some opportunities are suddenly opening. Certain people are drawn to high-frequency energy, like moths to light. The ones operating on authentic wavelengths themselves can feel you from across rooms now, can sense you're broadcasting something real in a world full of static and noise, can recognize the signature of someone who stopped performing and started being. And these people, the real ones, are going to start appearing in your path with increasing regularity. Everything you build from this point forward is going to be different, stronger, more aligned, more sustainable, because you're building from your authentic center instead of from a performed version of yourself. Your work is going to change. Whether you create art or build businesses or serve people or generate ideas, the output is going to shift, because you're no longer filtering creativity through the question of what others will accept. You're no longer editing expression through the lens of what makes others comfortable. You're no longer limiting output based on what maintains your false image. You're creating from truth now, and creation from truth has power that creation from performance can never match. Your relationships are evolving into something more real. The connections that survive your reveal are transforming into bonds built on actual seeing rather than projected assumptions. The people who stay are getting access to the real you, and you're getting access to the real versions of them in return. This creates intimacy at depths that weren't possible before. Vulnerability becomes safe because both sides know masks are gone. Trust becomes solid because both sides understand what's actually being offered. Your decisions are getting clearer. When you're not constantly calculating how choices will affect your image, when you're not worried about what others will think, when you're not trying to maintain a character that never existed, decision-making becomes remarkably simple. Does this align with your truth? Yes or no? Does this serve your authentic path? Yes or no? Does this honor who you actually are? Yes or no? The complicated mental gymnastics you used to do trying to balance truth with performance, over, done, unnecessary. Your intelligence can fully emerge. The strategic thinking you were hiding because it made others uncomfortable can come out. The ability to read situations and people with precision can operate openly. The capacity to see connections and patterns that others miss can function without restraint. You've been dimming your mind to avoid threatening people. Now you get to use all of it. Your intuition can guide you openly. Those gut feelings you were ignoring because you couldn't explain them logically can be trusted now. Those instincts you were suppressing because following them would have broken character can be honored. That inner knowing you were pretending didn't exist can become your primary navigation system. You've been operating on logic alone because intuition looked like weakness. Now you get to use both. Your voice can carry its full weight. The things you know but weren't saying can be spoken. The truths you were swallowing to keep peace can be expressed. The observations you were keeping to yourself because sharing them would have revealed too much can be offered. You've been editing your speech for everyone else's comfort. Now you get to say what's actually true. Your creative force can manifest without limitation. The ideas you were dismissing as too big can be attempted. The visions you were suppressing as too ambitious can be pursued. The possibilities you were ignoring as too bold can be explored. You've been playing small in every area because playing big would have shattered your disguise. Now you get to find out what big actually looks like. Some people are never going to adjust to the real you. Their entire relationship with you was based on the false version, and now that foundation is gone, the relationship has nothing to stand on. These people are going to try various tactics to get you back in the box. Understanding their playbook helps you navigate without getting pulled back into performance. Some will try guilt, suggesting you've changed in negative ways, implying you were better before, making you feel responsible for their discomfort, reminding you of who you used to be, as if that version was superior. Don't fall for it. You didn't change. You revealed. The discomfort belongs to people who preferred the lie. Some will try anger, accusing you of betrayal, claiming you deceived them, expressing rage at the reveal as if you committed a crime, acting wounded that you weren't who the assumption said you were. Don't absorb it. Their anger is about being wrong, not about anything you actually did wrong. Some will try manipulation, pretending concern for your well-being, suggesting you're having a breakdown, recommending you get help or take a break, or reconsider your choices, framing your authenticity as a crisis that needs intervention. Don't believe it. Health looks like truth. Sickness looks like the performance you just ended. Some will try social pressure, recruiting others to their perspective, building consensus that you're the problem, creating narratives that paint your reveal as something shameful or concerning or wrong, attempting to isolate you through collective judgment. Don't engage. People who know you actually are celebrating, not concerned. The key is recognizing these tactics for what they are: desperate attempts to restore a comfortable dynamic that no longer exists. Everyone employing these strategies is telling you clearly, this person cannot handle your truth. This person needs you to be false to feel okay. This relationship was never real. Let these people go without guilt. You're not responsible for managing anyone's inability to handle your authenticity. The mask is off, chosen one. The secret's out. Everyone knows who you really are now. The performance is over. The show has ended. The real you is standing center stage, and while some people in the audience are terrified, others are standing to applaud. Others are recognizing themselves in you. Others are gathering courage from your example. Others are preparing to drop their own masks because you showed, proving it's possible to survive the exposure, to thrive after the reveal, to live authentically, and not just survive but flourish. This is your moment, your time, your story unfolding exactly as it's meant to unfold. The comfortable version of you is gone, dead, never coming back, and what's standing in its place is something infinitely more powerful, something that's been waiting patiently for you to be brave enough to let it breathe, something that's going to change not just your life but the lives of everyone watching who needed to see that dropping the mask doesn't destroy you, it liberates you. Welcome to your real life, chosen one. Welcome to the version of reality where you exist at full capacity, where you take up all the space you actually require, where you speak truth without decoration or apology, where you operate from your center instead of everyone else's expectations. This is where everything changes. This is where your actual power emerges from the shadows it's been hiding in. This is where you finally stop concealing who you really are and start living like you finally remembered. The mask shattered. The secret escaped. People are terrified, and you're free. Finally, completely, irreversibly free. And that freedom, chosen one, is worth everything. Worth their fear, worth their confusion, worth every uncomfortable moment, and every lost connection, and every shattered assumption. Because you're not performing anymore. You're not pretending anymore. You're not hiding anymore. You're just being. And being yourself, fully and unapologetically, is the most powerful thing you can possibly do. This is where your real story begins.